What's up everyone, welcome back to another What If video. In the last part, we covered the beginning of the Android saga, which actually started out pretty differently from normal. We had 3 people arrive this time instead of just Trunks, Future Gohan, Future Goten, and Future Trunks, who's a full human here. In order to try to save the future, they traveled back in time, pretty much like normal under the assumption that this will affect their timeline. After freeing Vegeta to get some info on Super Saiyan, the group suddenly gets tasked with a new challenge. Let's pick up from here. So in the last part I ended off with a poll, asking what the group would do. Just like in the original story, it suggested that they just kill the androids right away before they even wake up, but they decide against it, and instead they decide to train in preparation for them. But for the option you guys voted for, they also choose to go and fight Frieza. Once they release Vegeta and he sees what a Super Saiyan is like, he brings up Frieza and asks them to help defeat him. And of course, the group doesn't actually know who Frieza is or what he's done, but Vegeta's going to be filling them in eventually. After Vegeta's caught up to speed about what's happened since he's been sealed, and after he mentions what he knows about Super Saiyan, he begins saying what he knows about Frieza. The group is pretty terrified to hear what this Frieza guy's like, but some people like Goku are actually pretty excited to hear this. Frieza's a potentially strong foe that could be real good battle practice for them. Plus, they'd be doing the universe a favor by defeating him. Goku suggests they're going to go right away, but then Vegeta stops them, telling them he's crazy to leave right now. They need to get a lot stronger before they actually go and do that. Especially since the visitors from the future are actually going to be leaving soon, which includes Gohan, who's the only Super Saiyan. Besides delivering the heart virus medication, Gohan tries his best to tell everyone what Super Saiyan is like and how he got it, and how it feels to become one. He saw Goten come close to it before, but he never fully got his younger brother there. The least he can do is try and explain it to them, but other than that, he doesn't really know how to help them here. He of course does show it off too, and in a fight where he heavily holds back, he even tries it out against Goku. He wishes he could do more, but hopefully this will actually help, and Goku might be able to figure out on his own. And with that, the next generation of fighters from the future takes their leave, promising that they'll return in 3 years when the androids are supposed to arrive. So what now? Well, Vegeta already warned everyone not to head for Frieza right away until they figure out Super Saiyan, so like he promises, he decides to join them in their training even though he doesn't really want to team up with them. He did promise it though, and he doesn't have any other allies, so why not? And this could help him get stronger. As long as they help him defeat Frieza, that's all he really wants. Too bad Vegeta doesn't have a scouter, because otherwise he can compare their power levels to what Frieza is at. The best info that he can give is that he was at a power level of 18,000, and Frieza in his first form is at 530,000, but that's just his first form, and supposedly he might have more above that, although it might be rumors. So their basis for Frieza's power is someone who's 30 times stronger than Vegeta, which is a really weird bar to measure power in, but they don't really have anything else. And with the lack of info, anything's better than nothing. Many people have far surpassed Vegeta by now, but there's been no threat, so no one's been training too seriously. They need to actually ramp that up now, not only because of the androids, but because of this Frieza guy if they actually go and fight him. Training begins. And first off, Goku's going to be spending all his time trying to become a Super Saiyan, hoping to teach Gohan and Vegeta as well. Gohan's too inexperienced right now as a fighter, and Vegeta needs to catch up in terms of power, so they all do their own training at first. And Goku is obviously with everyone, but he is focused on this goal of becoming a Super Saiyan. Speaking of Gohan, he spends most of his time training with Goku or Master Roshi, and the 3 of them become noticeably stronger over this time. Kinda being the outcast of the group, Piccolo joins Vegeta in his training, in order for both of them to try and catch up, and they actually end up forming somewhat of a bond. To prep for the androids, the rest of the humans, Krillin, Yamcha, and Tenshinhan, they actually go train with Kami. But they're at a point where Kami's training isn't really doing too much for them. Thankfully though, someone's been listening in and noticed the mention of Frieza and how someone wanted to try and defeat him. That of course is King Kai, who's been watching over Earth, especially after all the weird occurrences like people coming from the future and Vegeta being freed from his seal. King Kai interrupts Kami and asks, why not send the humans up here? He'd be glad to take some students with him. The Saiyans are kinda up to their own training, so the humans could benefit greatly by coming up here. King Kai has a few things that he wants to show them. Of course, they end up accepting. King Kai's obviously not going to take a bunch of people on his planet, so he takes those 3 and Roshi, who comes along with them. Roshi would love to take Gohan, his student, with him, but he realizes it's more important for him to stay with Goku, because not only is Goku giving him sufficient training, but he might help him become a Super Saiyan, which will be far more beneficial. Piccolo stays back as well, kinda interested in the new methods that they have of training on Earth, such as the gravity chamber. Vegeta suggested this to replicate the conditions on planet Vegeta, so Bulma built it for everyone, since it'll be beneficial not just to him, but for people like Goku, Gohan, or anyone else on Earth. Here we're going to have a little bit of a time skip, about a year and a half into the future. Half of the time has passed before the androids are supposed to arrive, and training's actually going very well. Vegeta's still behind, but with his motivation and hard work, he's actually gotten some really good gains in training. Not to mention, pretty much everyone else has seen a huge increase in power over this time period. The humans on King Kai's planet not only have gotten stronger, but have learned some impressive new techniques, such as the Kaioken, and Master Roshi even picked up something called the Spirit Bomb, whatever that's supposed to be. King Kai says this is a last resort, but it's still good for them to have in case they need it in a battle. Back on Earth, Goku, Gohan, Piccolo, and Vegeta have been doing a bunch of gravity training, and they've become noticeably stronger as well. And this group is actually the one that Vegeta's most comfortable with. He forms a rivalry with Kakarot, and his rivalry/friendship with Piccolo develops more. Even Gohan begins to grow a liking to both of them, even with Vegeta's cold exterior. But the good thing is, he hasn't tried to kill anyone, so I guess that's a good sign for his development, because you know how Vegeta was before, of course they're going to be wary of that. Interestingly enough, over this time in training, Goku has actually tapped into Super Saiyan. How is that even possible, you might be asking? Well, you gotta consider how fast Goku learns things just from seeing them. Having it explained to him and shown to him, and having constant hard work towards it, I'm sure Goku would figure out a way to access it eventually. I mean, we've had people learn Super Saiyan in much less time, so it's actually not as crazy as it sounds. Goku feels that he's actually strong enough to go for Frieza right away, but Vegeta actually declines to go again. He doesn't want to go fight Frieza until he himself gets Super Saiyan as well. Sure, 1 Super Saiyan might be good, but 2 is much better and it makes victory more likely. Plus, it'll be nice for him to see Frieza's reaction to him becoming a Super Saiyan. That'll be a huge ego boost for Vegeta. About 2 years into the training, and with some extensive help and training from Goku, Vegeta does end up learning Super Saiyan, and the second he does, he decides that they want to go for Frieza. By this time now, all the humans are back on Earth because they learned pretty much everything they could from King Kai, plus in terms of training, the gravity training on Earth is probably better, instead of just being on 10 times gravity the whole time. Goku, Vegeta, Gohan, and Piccolo prepare to leave. Thanks to Bulma, they have a new spaceship too. Roshi and Krillin end up joining them as well. Tenshinhan and Yamcha decide to stay back, mainly because Yamcha doesn't want to leave Bulma for longer than he already has, and Ten argues that there shouldn't be any more people leaving Earth than there already is. They might need some people to defend it, just in case. Vegeta mentions a planet called Frieza Planet 79, and although King Kai's very wary of them going to fight Frieza, once he sees Super Saiyan, he's confident that they'll be able to do something to him. Prior to this, he was withholding the location of Frieza Planet 79, but now he gives it to them. He was concerned about their safety before, and that was the right choice to not tell them. Within a few weeks or so, the ship reaches the planet. Vegeta is eager to get off the ship and start fighting. This is something he's been waiting for a while. Everyone else is too, because not only is this a potential fun battle, but the experience could help and they're cleaning up the galaxy. Kui is pretty shocked, as he's the first one to see Vegeta. He assumed Vegeta was dead and surprised that he's crawled back here. He keeps ridiculing Vegeta, but then he's killed in one shot. Vegeta doesn't even have to try. The Frieza Force stops being cocky and is immediately scared, realizing who they're dealing with. The entire planet goes on alert. Frieza himself is aware of this, but he's not too concerned. He'll send out people like Zarbon, Dodoria, and possibly the Ginyu Force if he needs to. His smugness slowly fades away as then he hears that Zarbon and Dodoria have been killed by Vegeta single-handedly, so he does send the Ginyu Force, and then he hears that they're killed, also single-handedly by Vegeta. You know, the group's a little bit annoyed because Vegeta's getting all the action here, but hey, whatever. Frieza is furious, but this isn't something that he can't handle by himself. He and King Cold head out in order to face the group. Frieza even laughs when he sees the group and scans their power levels. Power levels of only 4 and 5 digits. Little does he know, they're holding back, and Vegeta decides to give him a show. Vegeta goes to his full strength in base form. Extensive gravity training has paid off. In his base, Vegeta's power level actually kinda scares Frieza. 1 million. The funny thing is, Vegeta's not even the strongest one of the group. That would be Goku. This is the last arc that power levels will remain relevant, but just for fun, let's list them anyways. During this particular fight, Roshi has a whopping power level of 400,000, which can be increased to 6 million with the Kaioken times 20. He could thank King Kai for that. Krillin is at 350,000, and similar to Roshi, he could do the Kaioken, which would bring him to 7 million at Kaioken times 20. Piccolo's at about 450,000. He had better gravity training than Roshi, but he didn't learn a bunch of new techniques from King Kai like Roshi did. And he doesn't have the Kaioken. So he is stronger in base, but besides that, Roshi did see better gains. Frieza's particularly angry when he sees the child, a Saiyan half-breed, is actually at a power level similar to him. 500,000. But as we know, power levels aren't everything, there are people more skilled than him. So someone like Roshi or Piccolo could probably outclass him in a battle. That's besides the point though. As I mentioned, Vegeta's at 1 million right now. With Super Saiyan, that would be 50 million. With better training and gaining Super Saiyan earlier on, Goku's power is a massive 5 million, or 250 million when he's Super Saiyan. Alright, Frieza's not gonna play any games here. He instantly goes to his final form, and he actually does pretty well. He scolds Vegeta for being so foolish that he thinks he could kill Frieza of all people. Frieza even tells the Saiyans that he's not at his full power yet. He's only using about 5 or 10% of his full power in his final form. Vegeta decides to give him a surprise, asking Frieza if he's heard of the legendary Super Saiyan. Frieza's bothered by this, and asks Vegeta if he's not actually implying that he is a Super Saiyan. That can't be true. But it is. Vegeta turned into a Super Saiyan in front of Frieza, and overcome with fear, anger, and shock, he's almost completely paralyzed. This serves as a good distraction. Since Frieza's off guard, it leaves an opening for Vegeta to attack before he can actually power up to his full power. With one powerful blow to the stomach, Vegeta gravely injures Frieza, not giving him any other chances to power up. He gives one last look to Frieza and smirks. The Saiyans have finally won, and he kills Frieza on the spot. But there's still King Cold to deal with, and he's been against the other 4 members of the Dragon Team. They've actually been holding their own somewhat well, but King Cold is above them. Thankfully, Vegeta transforming into a Super Saiyan was a good distraction, since King Cold looked away, and that provided Krillin the perfect opportunity to use a Destructo Disc, slicing the King clean in half. Of course, in collective power they probably wouldn't be able to overpower King Cold, but an ingenious strategy like this obviously will work. Shockingly enough though, he would most likely survive this, but I mean they got 2 Super Saiyans right there, so obviously that's not going to be that big of an issue. That was pretty easy actually, although Goku's a little bit annoyed that he didn't get any opportunity to test out Super Saiyan. But Vegeta promises Goku that he could have all the fun he wants against the androids. This is all Vegeta wanted. He thanks them for helping out, and they clean up whatever remains of the planet. Satisfied, they all head back to Earth and training continues. Goku and Vegeta continue to use Super Saiyan and try to work towards getting it further. They still have just under a year left, and everyone's happy to do some gravity training. Vegeta seems like a pretty trustworthy ally now. He did seem genuinely grateful when they helped him kill Frieza, and not to mention he hasn't lashed out since. All he's been doing basically is training, and without him getting together with Bulma, that's really all he's had to do. Eventually though, the androids do arrive. First is 19 and 20. Remember how I said the androids aren't actually as strong as they were in canon? Well, that applies to these 2 as well. And luckily enough, Goku doesn't succumb to the heart virus this time. He does make sure to take his medicine here, either because he'd noticed the symptoms earlier from all the stress he's been going through, or just because he's around people who will constantly remind him. They're able to easily wipe out 19, but 20 ends up escaping, trying to activate 17 and 18. Gohan, Goten, and Trunks show up, and they're actually really amazed at how strong everyone's become. Goku and Vegeta have even unlocked Super Saiyan, and Gohan's even more amazed when he hears that his past self can actually do it. Especially at this age, it's crazy for him to hear that. They all try and find 20, and they eventually find his lab. But unfortunately, they're too late. He's already activated 17 and 18, who then proceed to kill him, and then activate Android 16. Oh, that's great. Goku's right here for them. That's their target. So immediately, they're gonna jump in and fight. The androids are very strong, but collectively, and using their full power, the group is actually able to hold their own pretty well. But even with that, the androids have infinite energy, so stamina will become a bit of an issue for them. Thankfully, Roshi's pretty keen on this, and decides to break out something that he thought of before. Not the Mafuba again. No, something brand new that he learned. He gives a cue to his allies, and he sneaks away from the battle, unnoticed by the androids. He goes up on one of the mountains nearby. He lifts his hands up, and begins charging an attack. The Spirit Bomb, which he learned from King Kai. Hold on. Don't you have to have a pure heart for this? I thought Roshi was some kind of pervert that couldn't even use the Nimbus because he doesn't have a pure heart. Well yeah, you're right. But here, this isn't the same Roshi that we all know. With his life being so much more focused on training, and with all the changes he's gone through, who's to say this is the same Roshi? He's probably not even a perv anymore. And speaking of that, Krillin couldn't ride the Nimbus for the same reason, but in the Saiyan saga, he actually was able to wield the Spirit Bomb and he wasn't hurt by it. So I'm sure if he underwent that change, that Roshi could probably do the same. And even besides that, Cell claimed that he was even able to use it if he wanted. And we haven't seen it besides in the video games if he can't actually do that, so I'm sure Roshi of all people would be able to use the technique as well. The androids continue their fight, slowly gaining ground, but then they notice something odd. Some sort of light is glowing off the people that they're fighting. It's not like the aura that they're used to seeing. And then they notice something else. It seems that the group is one person short. 17 asks 18 if they killed Roshi without knowing, and they ask 16 as well and no one knows. And then finally, they realize what's happening. After seeing a massive glow from behind them, they turn around and look up in the sky, and they see a giant ball of energy, with Master Roshi underneath. The Dragon Team gives more energy, including future Gohan, Goten, and Trunks who don't know what's going on but decide to help anyways. The ball grows rapidly, and then Roshi flings it towards the androids. Thinking that this won't be anything to them, they attempt to hold it off. And it's hard, but they are briefly able to. Roshi powers up with Kaioken times 20 to push it further, but it's still not working. Suddenly, he's joined with the help of his students. Goku, Gohan, Yamcha, and Krillin. Yamcha and Krillin turn on their Kaioken as Goku and Gohan go Super Saiyan. The bomb slowly gets pushed towards the androids. And then suddenly, it gets pushed more and more. 16 begins to break apart, as 17 and 18 feel the pain of the bomb. It ends up engulfing them, completely absorbing them, and then flying off into space and exploding, creating a giant crevice in the path that it follows. Good thing they didn't try to dodge it because they don't actually know how to sense the android's energy, so who knows if the bomb would actually track them or not. Everyone powers down, tired out, but victorious. The androids have been defeated. Oh yeah, and Cell shows up, but he doesn't have anyone to absorb, so he gets killed eventually too. At least once everyone finds out about him. If the androids were as strong as they were in canon with all the data that they had, they would be a much harder challenge, and they probably wouldn't be able to be beaten. But here, all ends well. The only thing is though that Gohan, Goten, and Trunks have realized long ago that this isn't their timeline, so whatever happens here won't affect them. So how are they supposed to defeat the androids? What could they do now? We'll save that for the next episode because we're going to leave off here for now. So what did you guys think about this part, and what do you think will happen next time? Leave your thoughts and suggestions in the comments below, and I'll be sure to check out what you guys think. As always, if you liked the video, be sure to drop a like, and if you haven't already, why not subscribe, as well as hitting the bell icon to get notified about any future parts of this What If, or any other videos that I upload to my channel. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you on my next video.